boys and girls, back for math. I have a gumball machine that says W-H-O-L-E, whole. So I'm going to show you some gumballs, and you have to tell me if the gumball is the whole gumball, if it's been divided into fourths, which would be 4 parts, or halves, which would be 2. So I have a gumball machine that says whole, one that says halves, and then one that says fourths. Okay, you can see F-O-U-R. That spells 4, doesn't it? Fourths. And I showed you the halves one really fast. Halves. The L is silent, don't forget. Okay? So the first gumball that I have looks like that. Half of it's colored. How many parts has it been divided into? 2. So we say that's halves. So I would put it in this gumball machine. You see? All right. How about this one? No parts colored. How many parts do you see? 4. So that would go into the bubblegum machine that says fourths. Okay. How about this one? Now this is an interesting one because the whole thing is colored, but how many parts is it divided into? Divided into 2. So it's showing halves. Okay, good job. How about this one? Put that one a little closer. The whole thing is colored. Do you see any parts that it's been divided into? No. So we're going to put it in the bubblegum machine that says whole. Good. Okay. How about this gumball? This is interesting because I see that half of it is colored. But how many parts has it been divided into? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you could actually say, since 2 of the 4 parts are colored, that half of the circle is colored, which is the same as saying 2 out of the 4 parts, or 2/4 of the circle has been colored. Half and 2/4 mean the same. Isn't that interesting? So I'm going to put that in the fourths gumball machine. Okay, and then I have one more. Nothing colored. How many parts? 2. So that means halves. Good job. Well, I put that one sideways, but that doesn't matter, does it? Still divided into halves. Good for you. Okay, now, can you tell what fraction of the shape or the object Mrs. Card's going to show you without seeing the whole shape or the whole object? So for example, I have a cookie. And this picture shows this fraction of the whole cookie. Do you know what fraction of the cookie is in the picture? It's a little bit more difficult, isn't it? Because you don't see the whole cookie. If you said, Mrs. Card, that's 1/2 of the cookie, you're right. So somebody already ate the other half, didn't they? Okay, so now we have to choose between 1 whole cookie or 1/4 of a cookie. What if I showed you this picture? Would you say that's 1 whole cookie or 1/4 of a cookie? Well, of course, it's 1 whole cookie. So then, what fraction of the cookie do you see here? A little bit harder to tell because we don't see the other parts. So this fraction, or this cookie, this part of a cookie, is showing 1/4 of the cookie. Isn't that interesting? And you know what? That's the smallest part. Oops. 1/4 of a cookie is the smallest part. Here's a half. And here's the whole. Obviously, the whole is always going to be bigger, isn't it? You know why this is smaller than this? Because when you divide a cookie or whatever you're talking about into fourths, you're making more cuts. And the more cuts you make, the smaller the pieces get. Okay, I'll show you more about cuts in a minute. Okay, now let's do the very same thing, but this time with a donut. So we have to match one whole donut, 1/4 of a donut, and 1/2 of a donut with the pictures that I'm about to show you. Can you tell what fraction of the donut that is? It's 1 out of 2 pieces. So that makes it 1/2 of the donut. Good job. This is making me hungry, all this cookie and donut talk. Okay, what about this? Is that 1/4 of the cookie or one whole cookie? If you said it's, oh, pardon me, donut. If you said it's one whole donut, then you got it right. Good for you. So then this would be what? This is the smallest piece. So the most cuts were made in order to cut this donut into fourths. If you said that's 1/4 of a donut, Mrs. Card, you got it right. So since this is 1/4, that donut's been divided into fourths. So you can share it with 4 people. I get 1/4. Thank you. Okay, now you can do the same thing with shapes. I have a circle. Okay, today on your seat work, you're going to have to divide the shapes that they give you into different parts. Okay? So this one says show 2 halves, show 4 quarters. Remember we talked about how 4 quarters make $1 and 4 quarters is the same as 4 fourths. Show 1 whole. That one's easy. Show 2 halves. Show 2 halves. Remember halves means 2 parts. Show 4 quarters. Show 4 quarters. Show 2 halves. Okay, now the trick about doing this paper is making sure that the parts are equal. So I'm going to show halves with a circle. The easiest way to do it, of course you won't be able to do this with your shape, but I just want to show you what it looks like. When you want to divide a shape in half, okay, if you fold it so that the edges meet, you'll get exactly 2 equal pieces. And then I can take my scissors and cut right down the middle. And then I could actually label this piece is half of the circle, half of the whole circle, and so is this piece. And when I put 1/2 together with 1/2, I get the whole circle. Remember, the 2 on the bottom means how many parts the circle's been divided into, and the number on the top means which part you're talking about. So I'm talking about 1 out of the 2 parts when I'm holding this fraction of the circle, and then when I'm holding this fraction of the circle, I'm also talking about 1 out of the 2 parts. Okay, boys and girls? You can divide a rectangle in halves too. Okay? And I can do it easily by folding. So I'm going to fold it so that the edges meet, because, see, that's halves. But you know what? I could do it another way. Couldn't I do it the long way? That would be halves. See? So here I folded the paper this way, and then here I folded it this way. Both halves, because both parts are equal. So you can do that on your seat work too. You're going to be drawing a line with a ruler, aren't you, to show halves. Okay, now what we want to do is talk about fourths. The easiest way to divide something into fourths is first to divide it in half. Okay? Then, because I have this shape in my hand, I can easily divide it into fourths by folding half in half again. Look, it looks like 1/4, doesn't it? But when I open it up, you see 4/4. Okay, I can do the same with a rectangle. Okay, first I'm going to divide it in half. Then I'm going to take that half and divide that in half again. In this case, I'm folding, aren't I? So that's 1/4 of the rectangle I had in my hand. And now you see 4/4. So the trick to making fourths is divide something in half first, and then divide that half in half, and then divide the other half in half. Okay? I can divide this paper into fourths by dividing each half in half again. So you see 1/4. Then when I unfold it, you see half, and now you see 4/4. Okay? So, what are you going to do on your paper? You're going to take your ruler and your pencil. I think I'll use my marker so you can see the line really well. Just a minute, boys and girls. I have to get a ruler. Okay, so the first circle says show 2 halves. So do you remember how I did that with my circle? I made a line down the middle by folding it. You can make a line down the middle with your pencil. So I get out my ruler and I place it so that the ruler is in the middle of my circle. And then I'm going to make my pencil, where's the edge of the ruler? Follow along the edge of the ruler, okay? Try to do the best you can. It's a little bit tricky. I think I almost got it. One side looks kind of a little bit bigger than the other, but it's pretty close. Okay, then it says show 4/4. Okay, all you do is draw a line to divide the circle in half. Remember, quarters means 4. So first you draw a line to show half, and then you draw a line the other way, as if you're making half again. So you're drawing from the top of the circle to the bottom, and from the side of the circle to the opposite side. That's how you're showing quarters. Okay, this is show 1 whole. This is show 2 halves. Now this is a square. So remember what we did with the rectangle? We could divide it this way in half, or we could divide it this way in half. But what's super cool about a square is that you can actually divide it this way in half too. So you decide, but you can only draw one line. If you draw more than one, then you're not dividing it in half anymore, okay? Do that with the rectangle. Show 2 halves. So remember, you're either going to draw down the middle this way or across the middle that way. Then for this rectangle, it says show 4/4. For these two skinny rectangles, first show 4/4, show 2 halves. Okay, so that'll be fun. And then for this, it says cut, sort, and paste the equal parts of an orange. Okay, so over here it says you have to show a circle with 2 equal shares. So this is going to be where you put the orange that's divided in halves. That would be 2 equal shares. And then this over here says show a circle with 4 equal shares. So this will be where you put the orange that's divided into fourths or quarters. Okay, boys and girls? So that's how you're going to do your seat work today. Have fun with that. Thanks for listening.